What is up, everybody?
How are we?
Second stream for the day. Say
Yeah,
that again.
baby.
You came in real loud for a second. Let me turn you down on my end. Trying to try this one without headphones, so let me know if you
You can't
guys
turn me down.
are hearing Bert on the reverb. Did a stream earlier today, walking through some thoughts on best ball. So if best ball is more your speed, check out that video from today. But right now, we're all about sports betting. I have been on a tear, coming off a hot 5-10 week last week. Let's get this up for
Bills Pats week. This can be, for our listeners.
this is a turnaround spot for me. I think I'm gonna, some would say down 26 units, continue to fade me. I've already told the people that. I could have oppo betted myself on the show. I'm not.
I did go back in and give you that.
Bills Patriots week. I'm a Bills fan. Bert's a bandwagon fan. I think he grew up in Carolina, and then the Panthers weren't too hot, so he jumped to the Patriots. But excited for this week. Let's review last week real quick.
That's not true, by the way.
I'll walk through a couple of the games I thought were interesting. Buffalo, clearly Josh Allen a little banged up, gutted it out there, though. Our defense, we lost Von Miller for hopefully just one game. Need him back bad. Trey White was out there for like a snap or two.
Same old Lions, new age Bills. That's kind of my take on it.
Guys, let me know if you're hearing Bert or if that's just me. Bert, get the mic closer to you. Maybe that's the problem.
Same old Lions, new age Bills.
Yeah, that you were too far from the mic. And then Dallas Giants, I had food poisoning for, so I didn't see a minute of that game. Let me tell you, though, I fought for my life, took a nap. That was good. Made it through the Bills game at least.
Giants backdoor cover, but Dallas looks like they're rolling.
Minnesota destroys New England. That one was easy.
That was a very interesting experience on the group chat because you were full on trolling the Hunter Henry catch, and then you kind of came back on it. You're like, oh, you know what? Actually, that is unfair. It is a catch. And then when everybody was like, oh, okay, that's reasonable, you went immediately back to like, nope, actually, you got the ball bounce. Like laughing on the couch, just like, okay, this is
get that mic closer to you, Bert. Let the people hear your thoughts. The Hunter Henry, like it's one of those things where like the top end of the ball touched the ground, but clearly if the ground was not there, he still would have held on to the ball. Like the ground, he would not have fumbled this ball. But I don't know. That's
my feeling is that it should be a catch, but that by the way the rule is written, it was not. So it's kind of like you just kind of
I don't know though. Like
have to be okay with it. I kind of put it up there with the Calvin Johnson one from like 2011 or whatever that was.
Yeah, but the rules have changed since then. It's more like
I know, but they went back and they're supposed
more
to
like the
survive the
Des
ground.
Bryant one, right?
Yeah, that one was egregious too.
Well, anyways, I thought Minnesota, New England, two probably even-ish teams. Like obviously Minnesota has a great record, but I think that game kind of played out like even-ish, right? Like,
so what I would say it comes down to is that the Patriots came in with a really good, probably their best offensive game plan of the year.
Well, you guys have been throwing the ball a lot more.
Yeah, looked like a functional offense, probably like a functional NFL offense for the first time this season. And the defense was playing fine, but like obviously we're being coached to the idea that Kirk Cousins was going to throw them a couple, which he did. And then they just completely let up on special teams. Why they even were
your guys' special teams was a disaster.
Why they were even in punt block on 4th and 4, like getting the ball back. I just don't even game tied. Like just take the ball. And I know like you got to be aggressive and all that. Just take the ball. Do not even risk getting that penalty. And that ended up being like the difference in the game. They didn't score at all in the fourth quarter. So that's a bummer, obviously, but look good.
Just trying to see if this is on my end. Like maybe your settings are down. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, special teams is usually like obviously a single game is just fluky, but usually it's like if a team has disastrous special teams, that's usually just like a thing for them for the season.
Well, that's just it's so frustrating that they
Like,
come
have you
out.
guys had bad special teams all year? That's what I'm
No,
trying.
that's what I was gonna like. It's so frustrating that they had bad special teams last year. But they came out of the last week Jets game, and everybody's like, "Well, that's the Bill Belichick difference. They win on a punt return when they can't get it done on offense. Blah blah blah, whatever." It's just so frustrating that they come in after that game and just completely get rocked on special teams. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
And
Houston.
now I think it's one of those deals where we're fighting to get to 500, and hopefully 9 and 8 is good enough to get that 7th spot, and then maybe we can steal one of these Bills games or
Well, once we get through the reviewing week 12, I think we're going to take a look at the playoff teams before we jump into week 13.
I think there's hopefully week 18, which I don't think it'll happen because the Bills look like they're going to be playing for either a bye or home field advantage. What would be awesome is if in week 18 they were playing Case Keenum.
Case Keenum would shred y'all.
Yeah, okay.
Anyways, I knew plenty of teams have lost to the backups. The Dolphins lost to the Bills lost to the Steelers.
No, I'm just, but if I could choose to play Case Keenum or Josh Allen, I don't know if this is an absurd take, but I think I'd rather play Case Keenum.
All right. Anyways, Houston, a disaster. Kyle Allen was starting. Don't think that really matters. I mean, we might get Jeff Driscoll. That'd be good.
That was an interesting game. Miami looked like they could have scored 70. It was
not an interesting game. Baltimore, Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence is looking legit. Not like he had some big time. I watched some film on that game. He had some big time throws into tight windows. And with Kirk and Zay Jones breakout, ex-Bill. But, next year when they're able to actually get another one, they traded for Calvin Ridley actually already. Like if Calvin Ridley's allowed to play, that's going to be big. Now you got Kirk in the slot, his natural role. Jacksonville could win that division for years to come because the Titans are going to trend downwards eventually. The Colts are going to be a dumpster fire. And the Texans do not. The Texans are clearly tanking for, I think, Bryce Young, right?
Yeah, he's coming out this year.
Daniel, you'll see it, man. We're gonna pull up the DraftKings sports book. So,
but I think that Jacksonville game, that's gonna be one of those that you look at, and Trevor Lawrence either turned a corner here as like one of the perennial like top 5 QBs in the league, or just flash in the pan. So it'd be interesting to see how he comes out next week. If he is just
let me pull up actually the scores. That's a better way to look at this week. 12 NFL scores. I mean, I think it there were discussions of bust thrown around Trevor, and I think it's pretty clear that was wrong. The Bucks, man, what a collapse! I saw something earlier today.
Todd Bowles, what is he doing, dude?
Yeah, terrible coaching by him at the end.
And part of that's on Brady though too. Call the timeout. Just do it.
You're Tom Brady. You play the game.
Nobody's gonna say
you can overrule the dumb coach. And
everybody's the whole thing with Bruce Arians leaving was okay. Tom Brady's gonna be a de facto offensive coordinator, basically. Call the freaking timeout, man. What are you doing?
I saw something today that was the Bucks are going to win their division at 8-9, and then have to go beat Kirk Cousins, and then have to go beat either Geno or Jimmy G to get in the Super Bowl. That
would just be a very
the NFC cannot be easier, other than Hurts.
The Niners seem like they're coming on.
Too. Yeah, but even that, it's okay. Could you foresee Jimmy G becoming a pumpkin in a big game? For sure. Jets, Mike White breakout, man. I mean, they did it against the Bears D, but I think it's safe to say Zach Wilson will not be a starter next year after that Mike White performance. And I don't
Or at
think
least not for the Jets.
I don't think we'll see anywhere. I mean, like who's
There,
gonna
I mean, dude, he
needs a lot of years on the bench, it looks like.
Yeah, I mean,
If he's even going to be in the league, like maybe his
that was a real
attitude
bummer
is so
that
poor that people are like, "Fuck you, dude."
there was like rumors that Nathan Peterman was coming in.
Yeah, he was for the
Um,
Bears, you mean?
Yeah, but they ended up playing the other guy, whatever his name is. But there was
Yeah.
like a rumor that the backup had hurt himself as well in warmups.
I got to give it to you, man. The Panthers
Oh, that take is aging
beat
like a
beat the Broncos. Well,
chef's
I will
kiss.
say this, like I saw some advanced stats that like highly alludes to the Broncos defense having given up, like loudly quit starting last week because it was like percentage of like perfectly covered plays or something an offense faces, and like the Broncos were like top in the league in the stat, and the Panthers offense like faces like a league high percent of like
But I
perfect
don't even like.
plays. And
Is
then
it?
against the Broncos, they faced like all their plays were not covered.
I'm workshopping a take with Russell Wilson that
Oh, did you see the defensive lineman shout at him?
yeah. That's what I was like. Everybody is now completely in full, like, not even support of him, whatever you want to call it. Although it seemed like they tried to kind of walk it back. But if you watch the clip, and it's like over Nathaniel Hackett's head, it's just like, I don't want to be here. But no, I'm workshopping a take that Russell Wilson, God has taken Russell Wilson's talent away from him because even he can't stand him, and he moved closer to him by moving to Mile High, and so he's like, "Oh, I'm mad at you," and I think that has some juice because when have we ever seen a like perennial Pro Bowler? Like this is reminiscent of Space Jam. Like just they took his talent away. I mean,
Would you rather be a fan of the Texans or the Broncos as far as like NFL future going forward?
I think I'd rather be a fan of the Broncos just because they
I
have.
think the Texans, man, give me the one pick next year. The
Yeah, but
Broncos,
if you're a fan of the Broncos,
you're stuck with Russ. You're stuck.
You probably live in Denver. You
Okay,
have
no, we're not saying that. We're not saying like, oh, I'd rather live in Denver. Like,
no,
it
but
has
I'm
nice
just but the
schools.
Broncos also have like an identity attached to them. Like the Texans are the most identityless team. I know one Texans fan, and
I do too.
I have so much respect for him that he like just picked a team that came out in 2000 or whatever it was.
Well, my friend's from Houston, so
No, and so is he. He's from Tech, but like it'd be so easy to just be like, no, we're Cowboys fans. Like that's our thing.
yeah. Well, I hate the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Anyways, I mean, regarding the Broncos, I think it's 99% that Russ is cooked. There is something to say that Nathaniel, like every year, we get these fucking coaches who think they are God's gift to earth, and they say, no, my scheme is what wins in the NFL. And they're unable to scheme their team around what their players do well. And they try to fit round pegs into or square pegs into round holes or whatever.
So my question is,
that's definitely happening for the Broncos. But the other thing that like it's not unheard of that maybe Russ needs another year to recover and maybe he'll be fine. But I think I think he's probably
I think even Peyton took like a year to kind of get it together.
Yeah, but like Nathaniel Hackett should be fired. Like he's not.
Yeah, but it's not like Gary Kubiak was like some world beater when they had him. But I don't know. But I guess my question would be: do you think that Russ is ruining Nathaniel Hackett or Nathaniel Hackett is ruining Russ? Because I can't really tell.
It's
right
both.
now.
Like I know Nathaniel Hackett's an idiot for a long time. Like he was done with the Bills. He was done with the Packers. I don't know why he got hired.
He's one of those guys. He's like a Mike Martz type that he's able to kind of like scheme guys.
He's a yes man, and so what?
But he has no idea like how to manage. Like he's kind of like a Josh McDaniels, probably pretty good on scheming first script or something like that, and then
not a leader, not
any situational stuff. He's just not like good to go.
Anyways, let's zoom through the rest of these because we're gonna spend time on the playoffs. Good win from the Bengals. That's a close one. Not a
Yeah,
ton to
that was
say
awesome
there.
for them. I
They're
mean,
gonna get Jamar Chase back, and
feels
Jamar
like they're
Chase,
coming on, right? So
yeah. Commanders, big win for them, man. I don't think anyone saw them seven and
feels like
five.
they're coming on too. The Sean
I
Taylor
said I said
statue.
that in the preseason they could be in the playoff hunt. Heineke, they're winning in spite of Heineke. I think their defense is just better than people think, and the Falcons are still in it.
Yeah, but I think they're rallying around him too. Like they love.
Yeah, it's
Taylor
weird.
Swift.
It's like
Well, I think it's just you have
the
Carson
media
Wentz,
likes
who they
Heineke because he's
say.
drinking beers on the plane, and Wentz is unlikable.
Well, yeah, and they say Carson Wentz is just so like polarizing, or not even polarizing. Like his
It
teammates.
wouldn't shock me if Wentz gets back out there, though. I
I
guess
would be very surprised, and I think Rivera even came out and said that they're rolling with Heineke for the rest.
And they're going to get Chase Young soon too. No, but like if Heineke, because Heineke like
yeah, no,
leads
I
the
mean if
league in,
Heineke like throws like 6 picks, and
he's like leading the league in turnover worthy plays. They're just not happening yet. So once he has a game or two like that, if it's like,
I mean, I like him a lot. The Jordans thing is awesome. And Falcons a great team to beat because you can get a pair of the Breads or something like that. But did you see the Sean Taylor statue too?
What'd you say?
The Sean Taylor statue.
Oh yeah, that was.
Oh my god, dude! So
I don't really get why people are so mad that it was like a uniform. Like, what did they
think
want?
people thought like it was going to be a statue.
And not like I think they were really mad because they just viewed it as like marketing, and it was like a Nike top, Adidas shorts, and like,
or just like, yeah.
I mean, they're an easy team to shit on, the Commanders. Like, what could they have done that people would be praising?
They could have done a real statue.
Yeah, I guess
People probably would have liked that. Yeah.
Raiders, Seahawks, really disappointing loss for the Seahawks. I think it just speaks to the Raiders. Like,
are the Raiders coming on?
No, like the Raiders, like they could have had offensive performances early. They didn't, and now they're out. And that's the NFL some years. Like this team, like in another version of this year, maybe the Raiders are in the hunt, but they're just not.
Max Crosby is
the Jags are in the hunt, technically.
Yeah, I think they said like every team is in the hunt.
Like they're in the hunt enough that like.
Oh yeah, because AFC South, yeah, that makes sense.
They're popping up on TV screens like in the hunt.
Yeah, but they showed something that like they showed 15 of 16 teams in the hunt last week or something.
No, like they didn't show. For the one I saw, it was like not that. The Chargers, big win for the Chargers, and I'll say like as a Bills fan, they're not a team I would love to face in the playoffs, just because I think Herbert has not been healthy much of the year with the rib thing. And then obviously they've not had Mike Williams and Keenan Allen for much of the year. And I think they're a truly different team when they do. Like their defense is not up to snuff, but they could totally beat anyone in the NFL, I think, when they have everyone.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Chargers roster a lot. But
I'm surprised to hear you say that. I thought you hated them.
I like I dislike one part of their team, and that's
their coach. Well, their defense is a lot worse than I thought too. Like Joey
Bosa went down earlier in the year, and I think
they have some pieces. They have Mac. They had.
I mean, it just sucks, dude, that they have a year of Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack both coming up the edge, and one of them goes down. Like, but that's just the way it goes.
Yeah, but like great teams can overcome it, and the Chargers. I mean,
I just mean for like viewership, like that would be awesome to have.
Yeah. Well, and the Chargers also lost big pieces on their offense. So for them to be, I think 6-5 now, like they gotta be thrilled. Like they're in the thick of it. I wouldn't say their competition's that good.
6-5 is a great place to be at this point in the season.
Well, the problem is like some of these teams, and we're gonna look at it, like the Jets. The Jets schedule is really easy. Like some of these teams have easy schedules. Anyways, the Niners. Not a great win from them, but okay, the Saints couldn't move the ball.
Chiefs, yeah, I mean, I just kind of looked at it as more like not one of those high-scoring games, but a game that they will look at it and be like, okay, this is where they kind of started to dominate. But we'll see.
The Chiefs-Rams, I literally don't have anything to say. Eagles game,
they had a backup QB.
Yeah, it's just the Rams are the worst team in the football, worse than the Texans. The Eagles,
really.
The Eagles gutted out the win, and I thought the Packers showed something. I think Jordan Love. Did you watch the end of that game?
I didn't see the end of it, no, but
Okay, so
I
like
was
Jordan,
following
I mean
along.
Jordan Love's obviously coming in against a team who's playing a little bit prevent, but I mean he came in. I think he threw for like 113 yards and a touchdown, and it felt like if the Packers got the ball back, like he was going to have a chance. And so Jordan Love looked good. Like, I mean, all he had to do was hit Christian Watson, and he did. And I mean, the Eagles ran all over the Packers. But I think if you're a Packers fan, you're excited from what you saw from Jordan Love, and you probably want to see what Jordan Love has this year. You don't want to see Rodgers next week.
Yeah. No, but we'll see. I mean, I think they already said he's playing next week, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what the coach is going to do. But I think
He apparently like
Jordan Love
has a
looked.
thing for playing in Chicago too. Like he gets off on it. But yeah.
That's really okay. No, I'm looking at next week. My bad. And then the Steelers, I thought it was Kenny Pickett's best game. That's not saying a lot, but good game from him. Obviously, Jeff Saturday flubbed the clock management at the
Yeah.
end, but that's like teachable shit. Like that's not people get all up in arms about that. I'm not.
I mean, it is. We were kind of waiting for that moment to happen, and I
Well,
think
it is a little inexcusable. You don't have some nerd to just do it for you, but like
to
you're in
go.
charge
I
of.
mean, to go 11 quarters really without and like be an interim coach that came out of the Get Up studio. I mean, I don't know how you're not like thrilled with the job that he's done. I mean, I've
And they could
shocked.
not move the ball in the first half, man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you can't be happy that with his performance so far. I mean, we all saw that, like how like Bill Cowher reacted. I think a lot of people that like theoretically know the NFL are now like, oh, see, this is what it is right here. Like he's screwing up the timeouts. It's like, well, we watched Todd Bowles do it too, and he's supposed to be like Brady's pick to be head coach. Like,
Is 538 have a good playoff thing?
yeah, 538 is pretty good. I think
Bert?
they have the Chiefs as like 25% right now though. That's like they're so top heavy when you go through their um numbers.
I don't care about the percentages. I want to go to the playoffs, and I want to do it by AFC and NFC. Can we do that? Don't
No,
they
that's if you want to do
do
that, you should
that?
go to New York Times. The New York Times playoff predictor is pretty good. But you can only go by team, I think.
Okay, perfect.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Perfect. Okay. So we don't have the New York Times. All right, the Bills pretty much a lock, and their schedule's not too hard. The Dolphins close to a lock. The Jets only at 58% at 7-4. I
More
mean,
likely than not, though, is like
more likely than not, like the other thing I wanted to say is I thought that win for the Browns was kind of big for playoff reasons because I'm not rooting for him, but it's not going to be shocking if Watson comes in and wins a bunch of games with the Browns.
well, yeah. I
And
mean,
nine and seven,
if the Browns
nine
end
and
up
seven could
missing
do it.
by a game, can you imagine how they're going to feel about that Jets game? We've never seen a more sure thing in I think our lives.
Okay, but then they also got the Bucks one, which like that one felt like they
Yeah,
were
but
like,
at least like that was like I don't know. It's a game that wasn't mathematically like pretty much impossible to win. I mean,
so if it's not the Jets, though, it's going to be in most simulations the
New
Patriots
England or LA.
or
Yeah.
the Chargers, right?
Yeah.
Um,
It's
that's
really going to depend on how the Patriots fare against the Dolphins and the Bills, I think. If they can somehow go 2-1 in those games, they'll be pretty
I
in
don't
pretty
think
good
that's
position.
going to happen. Let's look at the NFC. The Eagles and Cowboys almost a lock. Giants and Commanders likely, but not for sure.
How crazy the Commanders are 67% chance now in like 2 weeks.
Well, like who even can knock these guys out? So I guess it's like, is it okay, so it's like the Seahawks, I think, will take one of the spots, not looking at schedules. And then it has
I
to
mean,
be
it seems like they're almost saying the NFC's pretty much locked up. What is
yeah,
that?
the
One,
NFC
two,
is pretty
three,
much
four,
locked
five,
up
six,
other
seven,
than
eight.
it's either
It's the
it's
Seahawks,
either
Commanders, and Giants vying for that 7th spot. That 6th and 7th spot.
yes, fine for 2 of the 3. And
Yeah.
then it comes down to Bucks, Falcons, Panthers, Saints for this division.
Which the Bucks will win.
Which is wild that the Saints, I think Jameis is even healthy now, and they don't. And I mean, dude, the Lions, like, I mean, they can't win this division, but they've played hard the past couple weeks.
Yeah, I mean, the Lions they were on Hard Knocks, and we loved them then, so we should love them now, right? They're probably. I mean, I haven't watched. Had you watched the Hard Knocks in season?
No.
Yeah, me neither. I also just don't want to watch Cliff Kingsbury every week on my TV. But
No, and they're doing a bunch of like I heard Eno Benjamin got cut because he got in a fight with a coach and they didn't show it. And then they're doing all this lame stuff. Okay, so took a look at the playoff picture looks pretty clear, other than like the 1 seeds. Which I bet the Chiefs will drop 1. As far as who's going to get
I think we're just
there.
we're begging to get to 500 to 9 wins for the Patriots. Hopefully that's enough to get in. And then if we can get 10 wins, I think we're definitely in.
Just looking at schedule, let's look. So the Bills got Patriots, Jets, Dolphins, Bears, Bengals, Patriots.
Great,
pretty
schedule,
favorable.
so, yeah,
Niners.
The Bengals is really their only like maybe questionable game, and they should take care of business tomorrow night. But
I think the Dolphins are going to go like 3-3 down the stretch or something. And then the Chiefs, you know, like they could lose to the Bengals, they could lose to the Seahawks, and it's not going to be shocking if the Raiders like do some in division shit. And then the Broncos and Texans seem like 3 easy ones. So probably at worst winning 4 of these.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I think Patrick Mahomes is like a December beast supposedly. I don't know if he's ever lost in December, but
yeah, but I mean, really depends when injuries are going to hit you. I mean, we're going to talk through the Bills' woes, quote unquote. We'll talk about Bills Patriots now. I mean, I think this is a terrible line. Like this opened up Bills -5.5.
It was -5. This is terrible.
Like the fact that people are betting on the Patriots is like free money. It's my lock of the week already. I'm taking Bills -3.5. And let's talk about some of the issues the Bills have had in the past couple of weeks, and why those maybe could change. So to start, like their defense has been one of the worst in the league as far as like yards allowed on drives in the past couple of weeks. But they've been out literally like everyone on defense pretty much. Now they just lost Von Miller. The good news is, and they've lost their center and they lost their left tackle. So they're just losing like pretty much like everyone other than Josh Allen and Diggs. But man, like the Patriots, I don't see the Patriots offense versus the Lions offense. Those are 2 different offenses we're talking about. The Lions actually have one of the best O-lines in the league. They have, a great running back combo. They got Amon-Ra St. Brown. Goff is whatever. But like they actually have pieces on offense that can hang with teams. The Patriots just hung with a bad Vikings defense, but clearly got separated from late. And the Bills could destroy the Patriots, just like we saw in the playoff rounds, because I don't see why people think that the Patriots are going to score on Buffalo or even move the ball that well. Like Ramondre's yards per carry stats, his yard per carry stats were pretty terrible. They lost Damian's out for this week. And I mean, it really comes down to what is the defense of the Patriots going to do? Because the Patriots usually run a lot of man. Against Buffalo in their 3rd game they played, so the playoffs, they switched the zone because they got destroyed by man in the 2nd game. That didn't work. So I'm kind of curious what they're going to do. If it's man, I think this is another big McKenzie game, just like we saw against the Lions. If we remember, McKenzie lit up the Patriots in like the man coverage game. But yeah, I just don't see like I'm not worried about the Bills, and 3.5 is kind of laughable for a top 3 team in the league who's probably not 3
Yeah, I
versus.
mean, I think it's just a lot of New England fans coming. I mean, there's a lot more New England fans than there are Buffalo fans.
And I
And
think it's also the fact that the Bills haven't covered a past couple
yeah, they
weeks
have struggled to cover. That's true.
too. So like people probably, and it's like, oh, it's at New England. I
No,
don't know.
is it?
Like
I thought it was in Orchard Park.
Bills at Patriots. That's how
Oh,
I'm reading that,
I
right?
don't know why I thought for some reason I thought the first game was home.
No, I think it's in New England.
Bills at Patriots. Yep. Sorry.
Yeah,
Um.
in another universe, maybe we would be going to that game. This is not what I want. I wanted this.
Yeah.
Let's
If we
just
had
check
never.
let's just check the weather, see if a hurricane's forecasted. Is perfect weather.
Yeah. I mean,
So
it's.
yeah, Bills minus 3.5 seems like an easy
Yeah.
one.
This is a game I'm really uncomfortable. Game I'm really uncomfortable with. Obviously. We say what that. I guess the line makes a little bit more sense when New England's at home. For whatever reason, I thought that, and maybe I was just mixing up last year because I know they played home or they played at Buffalo to start last year. Um, I think that when you look at it's really going to be a game that comes down to do the Patriots let them run away with it in the fourth quarter? Because when you look at the games that have been played in New England, like last year, it's easy to forget that I think in the fourth quarter they were like a fourth down stop away from having the ball on in Bills territory down 6 or 7 or something like that. So I mean, I don't like the line, but we're at the point now that like we need to win one of these games. So I'm probably not taking the Patriots, or I'm probably not taking the Patriots for the rest of the year. But I'm not. This is not a game that I would put uh my kids' money on or like anything like that. It's not. I
Bert's
was.
trying to tell you his Patriots fandom refuses to allow him to take the Bills in this spot, and I understand that.
Well, it would be different if I did take the Ravens at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, but you weren't facing a divisional opponent.
Yeah, but I mean, there are other times that I like would say
Oh,
that
you took the Jets over the Patriots? You took the Dolphins over the
no, the
Patriots?
Jets are. I might take.
Every stream I do, this guy with the Croc drip check. I don't have them under me right now. Just shoes, man.
But yeah, so I mean, it's over a field goal. Maybe they keep it within a field goal.
I literally don't see how. Like the teams
Neither
that
do I, man. I mean, like I'm gonna say Patriots just in case whatever, but
no,
it's one of those.
I would do the same thing.
I'm a slave to the result and to what I see on the TV. I can't say that I feel terribly comfortable with it. I'm not going to say that there's no chance that the Chiefs keep it close with the Bills without muffing a punt or something like that. Like I just can't do that. I have to
Resort
be.
oriented. I was right that game.
Didn't the Chiefs cover though?
No.
Oh, okay. They
So
covered last week. Or the Bill or the Lions did.
yeah, and like a lot of these like drives, just because I watch all the Bills games, have been like 50-50 balls being converted. We're finally gonna have back Trey White, which now means our cornerback 1 is his natural cornerback 2 role. Missing Von Miller hurts, not gonna lie about that, but I just don't see and we shut down Chubb, we shut down Derrick Henry. So like I think we can shut down the running game here pretty easily. And like Mac Jones against the Vikings D in a dome is not the same thing as against the Bills D, even with their injuries.
What's your feeling on the red zone woes? Just kind of gonna
The
work
red
itself
zone
out or what?
woes. I mean, I think some of it was his elbow. Like, I'm really excited for this game to finally be over because then they'll finally get like a mini bye where they get.
Yeah, so lucky to get the Thursday to Thursday games. I mean, like, because like, the players probably get up for Thanksgiving to play on Thanksgiving, get excited, and then they get a full week till Thursday, and then they get like a mini bye.
Well, I wish they had got for the Bills' purpose. I wish they got the mini bye first, just because Josh Allen's elbow, and so like what that does. I mean, like if you listen to the Romo was really hitting on that elbow injury, so it seems like the Bill, like his camp was feeding him that, but it seems like it affects like sidearm type shit, which in the red zone can be a thing. It's also been.
It's also possible Romo is like drinking on the air. Like sometimes with the things that he's seeing, I have no idea.
Sure. But I mean, it also was, some of it was Josh trying to do too much. But I'm not like it. Josh, like the Bills in the red zone were electric last year. Josh Allen's a red zone cheat code in some ways. Just because.
Well, yeah, and that's how I kind of look at him. Is the Josh Allen experience is like he's going to do some things that, like, just the way the ball comes out of his hands, like, and I've said this to you before, like when they get like the Madden shot and it just kind of like, it almost just like looks like it's on like a rope and it just comes out. And if you had the RPMs, I'm sure it would be like a jet turbine or something. And some of these, like he plays it's almost like you're watching a new type of sport. He just hasn't played as much football as other people, and I think like he just sometimes struggles with the decision making, and occasionally like that's going to rear its head in the red zone. I believe that he's one of those guys that is always going to be like a gunslinger, but I also believe that he will eventually get hot. And if I had to put money on him winning a Super Bowl, I probably would err on the side of him eventually doing it.
Oh, of course, that's ridiculous. But anyways,
well, I don't know. Like it's
I also think that Josh in must-win games, a la the playoffs, big division games, he plays differently because he'll like run a lot and he'll make sure that the team has to.
When they go for it on fourth down and it's one of they're one of those teams now that like even when New England like gets fat on is get you to third and short.
Well, you guys have a team designed to beat bad teams, and like your defense is a tale to defenses too. Because if we look at your defense against the Ravens, against even Kirk Cousins, who's like not in that, but like against the mobile quarterbacks, you guys have been shredded. The good ones, like even Justin Fields, shredded your D, and then you guys are beating up
that
on
game
like.
Was just I don't even know what they like saw or how they.
Yeah, but I mean the point is the Patriots D is beating up on the Matt Ryans, the Zach Wilsons, the statue guys who are not on great teams. Like this Patriots D is not.
I mean, this might be one of my least favorite teams I've watched since I was in second grade, watching them win the Super Bowl for the first time. Like, and I'm talking about like the Cam Newton year. I might like that team more than this one. I mean, it's not.
Why? It's kind of fun, like it just because you don't think it's good, or
just like it's not fun to watch Mac go down, kind of be back. I mean, that Bears game was one of the most miserable games I ever watched. Where they like
you were flying high, you were 8-point favorites, and then
no, and like this guy's supposed to be our franchise QB, and they bring him in to get booed, and then like validate the boos by benching him for another QB. And I mean,
he was injured. That was clearly.
I know, but then just don't like hold him out another week. If you were going to take him out after 2 drives anyway, like, what are we doing?
I don't know. But, I mean, Mac has at least looked better. I'll say that. Like,
yeah, well, I mean, the offense is getting – apparently they wasted a lot of time. Shout out Greg Bedard, the guy that I do most of my –
Preston, you do not know what you're talking about, friend.
Maybe to Miami. Yeah, they had a pretty bad falling out. I'm pretty sure it's, like, really bad.
Anyways, let's move on to this Jets-Vikings game. I think this is an interesting game because, I mean, 44.5 over-under. It's really not going to be shocking for – I like both defenses in this game.
The Brett Favre Bowl.
It's not going to be shocking for Mike White to be able to move the ball against the Vikings D. It's not going to be shocking if he's a pumpkin against the Vikings D. It's not going to be shocking if the Jets D is great against Kirk Cousins. Like, all these things could happen. Sauce Gardner has locked down a lot of people, but he usually is like on one side of the field. I don't think Justin Jefferson's on. So I'm curious how that will shake down.
Hopefully they just move him over there. I mean, that's a matchup we all want to see. So
Yeah, we want to see. I mean, but Sox shut down Chase, who I'd put on.
I'm sure he's got Rivas as a mentor, and Rivas is like big on the like you're not a real elite corner unless you can like be the island and move around the
he's
field.
going to do what the coach tells him to do.
No, I know, but I'm just saying like they're gonna.
I mean, this is a huge game for the Jets because if they win this, what's their schedule left?
We can talk about what like how the players are actually going to do things, or we can talk about skepticism. Like that's like 99% of the watching experience.
Look, if we're not referencing Stevie Johnson and Darrell Rivas,
yeah. Well, Rivas is, I mean, one of my favorite players of all time. So it's just
yeah, this is classic stupid people talk. Who like the classic like mouth breather NFL fans like. Team loses in the playoffs and they haven't done well in the past couple of years. They're like, look, I told you this team's always this way. It's like, oh my God. Anyways.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just, that's part of the NFL watching experience is to,
I know you got a lot of mouth breathers. How do you see Jets Vikings go?
Yeah, I mean, the Vikings just look like they're semi-rolling minus that Cowboys loss. I found it kind of weird that Kevin O'Connell has been like on like ESPN doing interviews after Thanksgiving and stuff like that. Usually you see that kind of like in the bye week, maybe never from a head coach, but just kind of weird, man. But maybe they're looking ahead on this week. I don't know, but yeah, I just Mike White is one of those guys that, I mean, this kind of happened last year where he had a great game and everybody was like, this guy might be this crazy drafted low guy, and I just don't think that that's going to happen.
Is Joe Flacco hurt, or did they just choose?
No, they just chose him as like the next guy. From what
weird how they didn't choose him to begin. Like that's just so bizarre.
That's what I was like. That's what we were talking about in when they announced it. I was like, I just can't believe that they're having three QBs,
it's White, and you're like, what?
And they're all healthy.
Yeah. So
I mean, it's the most Jets storyline ever. The Brett Favre Bowl here, that the two teams he identifies with the most that he was ever on. I like Minnesota here. I mean, I think that they're rolling here.
Yeah, for me, it's like I'm gonna roll with the Jets D just because I've seen the way the Vikings are winning and like they're winning on these 50-50 balls and Sauce. If Sauce is shutting down JJ, which is not a given, but possible, and Mike White's able to actually move the ball, then I'm not worried about KJ Osborne. And I mean, TJ Hawkinson's looked a lot better on the Vikings, but give me the Jets here, man. Give me the Jets to improve to 8-4 and almost certainly lock up a division, a playoff spot if they can get business done. All right. Commanders at the Giants. This is a battle. This is a huge game because
absolutely
these two teams are fighting for a playoff spot. This is essentially a playoff game. Washington getting 2.5 points on the road versus the Giants. This is the Commanders are playing a lot better defense than anyone thinks. The Giants, they dropped a couple here. I don't think they've looked great. Their wide receivers on IR. The good news for the Giants is they're getting back 2 O-linemen and their tight end, which is going to be big for their running game because before these guys went out, I think Saquon was averaging like 130 yards, and now he's down to like 70 yards a game. Part of that could be Saquon, like the touches catching up to him, but I'm going to take the Giants O-line pieces and the Giants plus the points at home. But this is not one I'd be betting my lunch money on because could really see it going. It's like whoever defense plays better, pretty much.
I just think it's such a reactionary line. I mean, first 8 weeks of the season, we were all looking at the Giants saying all they have to do is win, 3 more games, 4 more games or something like that. And one of them's the Commanders, and they're definitely going to get that. And now here they are getting points against them. They did keep that Cowboys game relatively close. I like Dayball to eventually get one of these games because I think I've taken them or I took them a couple weeks ago as well. They gotta get right at some point, and it would be so sad for them to squander that opportunity of whatever they started at 6-2 and finish with a win down the stretch to miss the playoffs.
You took them three. You took them 3 in a row. I'm looking at it now. You had Houston.
Well, I had the Cowboys last week versus them.
Oh yeah, sorry,
that didn't cover.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think they probably get right here. And Washington, I think there's got to be some reaction.
They're getting Chase Young this week, man.
I mean, that's terrifying as well. But I'm just saying, like Washington, we just talked about how Heineke is eventually going to turn back into a pumpkin, and he's going to turn back into a pumpkin against a good coach. I mean, that's how that happens usually. And Dayball is a good coach, so.
Okay, on the same page there. Titans at Eagles. This is the AJ Brown revenge game. AJ Brown has like low key was very tight to be traded. He like talks about the Titans a lot, and I mean the Titans. I think if they could do that over, would not trade AJ Brown. It did not make a ton of sense. I mean, I think that was like them like acknowledging they can't win with Tannehill, but now they're like winning their division, and you can get lucky in the playoffs. And
statistically, he's like the best receiver in the league this year. So
yeah, he is.
But I think we all know it's probably like Justin Jefferson. But
I mean, like Traylon Burks has been fine, but he's just not. He doesn't have the speed AJ Brown does. So, anyways, Bert, your turn to.
Well, AJ Brown isn't even the best player to come out of that draft, which was N'Keal Harry. That's who we passed for the first wide receiver drafted. Passed on DK Metcalf and AJ Brown. But I don't know. Philly, they've been playing their games closer. I think this is probably their hardest game left, right? I think Tennessee plays them close. It's a big game for them, especially coming off that Cincinnati game. And I'm a huge Vrabel fan, so I like Tennessee to cover here plus 5.5.
I'm definitely taking the AJ Brown revenge game. I think if the opportunity presents itself, the Eagles will run up the score on the Titans. They're not going to try to like play like they have in other games where they like just get out with the win by running clock. They're going to allow AJ Brown to try to go nuclear.
See, but I don't even know if that's true because apparently the Colts are Nick Sirianni's least favorite team in the league, and he beat them by 1.
Well, that's the coach, though. This is who the locker room fucks with. The locker room fucks with AJ
but the
Brown
coach
heavy.
makes
and Hurts does. So Hurts is going to give AJ Brown the opportunities. Titan secondary is bad at covering the deep ball. AJ Brown's been quiet the past couple. Give me AJ Brown for sure, and the Eagles minus 5.5. And I think the Eagles, they're closer to this should be closer to 7.5, in my opinion.
Tennessee is just so hard to bet because they might come in with Malik Willis throwing 4 passes a game and take the Chiefs to overtime.
Did you see that something about maybe Ohio State offering the keys to the kingdom to Vrabel?
I mean, that would be really smart of them. I think he'd be crazy to leave
the NFL.
With his stock this high. But also, like, Ryan Day is not going to get just, ousted like that.
Here, let me grab some water and take a piss here, Bert, and walk us through Broncos Ravens.
Yeah, I'll start with so, I mean, I am a huge critic of Baltimore or Denver. I love what Baltimore's doing at this point in the year. Denver on the road, 2 road games in a row at this point for them. I mean, they're doing the stuff that you see teams that are falling apart doing. So I like Baltimore a lot here. Even with this big line of minus 8.5, Denver struggling to even get above 10 points in the last couple of weeks. And they scored 10 against Carolina, who we know is really, really bad this year. And Matt Rule, I think, is probably happy to be gone now, and he just got hired away to college this year. So Baltimore pretty easily, I think, will cover. Speaking of the Harbaughs, I mean, you just see Jim Harbaugh dominating Ohio State. He probably had a nice little Thanksgiving with John Harbaugh. and I think that they both come away with talking about some good coaching. Two of the best coaching minds in football, reviewing tape on the upcoming game. So like Baltimore here a lot.
You took Baltimore?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
I mean,
I think the Harbaugh is probably schemed over stuffing and turkey. As soon as Jim was done with that Michigan game, at least, or probably before, I guess, because he coached.
right. I mean,
But,
yeah, man. Like, I'm done with the Broncos after last week's clam.
let's just talk about when I said I think Carolina would beat Denver, and
I think
that in the chat.
I think Denver would have won earlier in the year, but now their whole team has quit.
Yeah,
Russell Wilson's been around the team too long, so everyone got to hate him.
He's so toxic.
If he wasn't there early, they'd still be playing for themselves.
Like I said, he's next door neighbors with God now, and God is like, oh God, how do I get rid of this guy?
Yeah, I mean, look, the Ravens. I will say the Ravens, since they lost Rashad Bateman, their passing game has like really struggled, and they're running Lamar a lot more. But the whole Broncos team might quit on Russ. So just give me.
Lamar's such a badass too, dude. Like he's the opposite of Russ, and he's not buttoned up.
How absurd is it that they don't have his contract done? He could not play for the Ravens,
but he's also like representing himself. It's a fucked up situation. I think that he will eventually get paid and buy Baltimore. Did you see that he tweeted at a fan like go fuck yourself or something like that?
No.
I won't say like all of it, but it was something like it's very, very funny. Like, what have you ever done but sit on a couch and comment on how I play?
Yikes.
But he's like the opposite of Russ, like where they ask Russ, like, Russ, how did it feel to get absolutely emasculated by a defensive lineman on the sideline? He's like, great. We have competition and like what is, and Lamar's just
I think the line that I think the like press conference Hackett had like someone asked Hackett like, so what happened with, like when and he's like, yeah, I had to tell Russ that like, people don't want to hear like it's Russ time or let's ride when we're losing, like it was like you really have
what
to
about what's the name of the Carolina outside linebacker that comes off the edge? He's like awesome.
Brian Burns?
Yeah, Brian Burns. He sacked him and he did how Russ was like doing the like God has possessed me. He started doing that as a sack dance. It's an all time like they're the funniest team, I think, in the NFL. And what I can remember is being like, I don't know. And it's all wholesome because he's probably such like a contributor to his community, but he's just so corny, dude. I hate that dude.
I saw that Russ's birthday was the other day and half of his team showed up. Do we think half of a team for a starting quarterback is high attendance or very low attendance?
Well, who knows if the agent has all the numbers to.
No, it was his wife who invited the team. I think everyone was invited. I think it's low attendance. I think if your starting quarterback has a birthday midweek and they invite you.
I don't know. Supposedly that house that he bought only has like it's the most expensive house in Denver and only has like 3 bathrooms or something crazy like that.
No, it had. Remember I sent you that thing? It has like 11 or 12 bathrooms because there's a tweet that charts how many touchdowns he's thrown versus how many toilets he has in his house, and he's comfortably under his toilet.
Oh, there's something on there that it's like the most introverted house and like you can't have guests basically, but it's like this unbelievable. Maybe it's like 3 bedrooms or something like that.
Okay. Anyways, next game, Browns at Texans. I don't want to spend a ton of time on Watson and really give him that much of a platform. Browns -7. I guess I'll take this one. I mean, Jacoby Brissett played great. I could see him maybe getting like a shot with like the Falcons or something if they're unable to find a quarterback, or at least a vet presence somewhere. I don't really know how you take the Texans, though. Like, I understand there's going to be rust and stuff, but I'll take Cleveland.
Yeah. God, this is just a game that I don't
I'm
even
not
know.
rooting for Cleveland. I would like the Texans to win, but
I don't even think I want that though either, because they are apparently like what created the system for him to like thrive in that situation. So
yeah, they're
eh,
benefiting too.
yeah, so it's just like it's two teams that you just really want no part of.
But if the Texans win, they might not get the 1 seed. That's the other
But I
thing.
will just
The
say,
1
like, I
seed.
think Deshaun away from the game, and I love like I want to make sure I say this right. I think the world of Deshaun Watson as a player. Like I really like
That's why
when
we're
I
not trying to spend a lot of time on this one.
yeah, like I remember watching him in college. Like thought he was like the special dude.
Yes, he's good at
Um,
football.
yeah, and also just like always loved by his teammates. All that. Then I would just be shocked if he comes in after a year out of football, 11 games into the next season, and doesn't absolutely tear up the worst team in the league. I just think it's crazy not to take him at -7. This is just like one of those games that like it's going to be one of those things where it's like awkward because it's going to be like 5 touchdowns or something like that, or throw for 3, run for 2.
Who
Um,
knows? Maybe it's
so
like a Seahawks versus Broncos. Anyways, moving on. Lions are Jags at the Lions. Lions are 1-point favorites at home. Um, these are two teams who, are playing better than their records indicate. The Lions offense, like their O-line's elite. They're looking good. They got DJ Chark back. I do not think Jameson Williams is going to play yet. He's a top 5 overall draft pick from them. Their wide receiver, kind of like a Jalen Waddle type.
mhm.
Um, I think he'll come back next week. And the Jags just came off that huge win against the Ravens. Going for 2 there. Good for them. I'm going to take the Lions, though. I just think that they're going to get their running game going, and they're going to close one out here, even though, like this one is a toss-up. But give me the Lions.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough one. It's obviously a pick 'em. But I just think I really thought Trevor Lawrence coming out of college was like that next surefire can't miss thing. And if this is truly that game that like turned that corner for him, like maybe this is like the season he closes out with 6 wins in a row, 4 or 2 or something like that. So I'm taking Jacksonville here. I think that he tears them up, especially with Detroit struggling on defense so much that this is kind of like where a player like Trevor Lawrence I think gets fat and maybe has like a 4 or 5 touchdown game. We'll see.
He could definitely have a big game. It's just, is their defense going to stop the Lions too? I mean, and like the Ravens dropped like 5 touchdowns last week.
Yeah, I
They
mean,
were not getting helped. So yeah, it would not shock me for either team to steamroll the other one, honestly. All right, moving on. We got Pitt +1 at the Falcons. How do you see it?
I got to go with the flying Hawaiian, man. I mean, he's coming out there. I think he'll run the offense pretty well, and Pittsburgh is what Pittsburgh is, and they definitely put it on Indy last week, but I think Atlanta in a game that they have to have. Hopefully, they keep this playoff race close for their division. So I guess I'm pulling for them to take care of business. They lost in like really the most Atlanta fashion last week, where they were going to get the ball back with maybe a minute 30 to go and rough the kicker. But so Pittsburgh, well coached team, Atlanta. I think that they are too, but they just kind of have that thing sewn into their uniforms, whatever you want to call it. But I think they take care of Pittsburgh here.
Yeah, this is one I could truly see going either way, but I want Atlanta to win that division and get a home playoff game. So I'm gonna go for Atlanta -1. But
Is that just anti-Brady? That
Kenny, well, I think Atlanta's a funny team too.
two. You throw that little 2 in.
The Pitt, Kenny Pickett turned the corner a little bit. They should have back Jalen Warren, their running back. Najee's questionable. The Falcons, they like need to beat a team like the Steelers. If they can't beat a team like the Steelers, which it seems like at Steelers Stadium they won't even be favorites, then they don't deserve to even be in the conversation of playoffs. So give me Atlanta there.
Whoever, by the way, and we should, I know this is crossing over into college football, but in the next draft class, whoever ends up the number 1 pick for that, there's a player coming out of USC, Caleb Williams. I know you don't watch. I don't think I've ever seen a guy that I'm like more positive that he will be like a top 5 quarterback in the league, which probably means like he won't be and he'll like bust out. But this guy is, I mean, I can't even believe. But I throw because he plays at USC, so it's like Pac-12 after dark. I throw it on right before I go to bed usually, and in that like one drive that he'll have, my jaw will hit the floor. He's just like that dude.
All
and
right.
both these teams are up for that. Is why I said.
Well,
that.
he might be in the conversation next year.
Yeah. Well, I know it's Thanksgiving, so we're talking college football too. I mean, I don't know. It was especially just prominent in my mind the other day.
I don't even look at the draft stuff until late. I don't watch college ball much. Packers at the Bears. I'm taking the Packers minus 4.5 here. Do not know if Justin Fields is playing or not right now. I know that his shoulder got hurt while running, so might have to run a little bit less even if he is playing. And then Darnell Mooney out for the year for the Bears, so they are down to Chase Claypool and some question marks. I thought Christian Watson's turning on for the Packers. Romeo Doubs should be back. I thought Jordan Love looked really good if he's playing. And then Aaron Rodgers, if not, is fine as well. So give me the Packers minus 4.5, who technically are maybe still in the hunt, but probably not. And it's a division game. I think they'll get up for it against the terrible Bears defense.
Well, that's what I was going to say. So I was in St. Louis this past weekend, and a lot of people came in from Chicago. It's just like a little short drive to get down to St. Louis, maybe 2-3 hours. Maybe a little bit more than that. It might be like twice that actually. My thing with I was talking to them about, it's great Chicago's going to end up with the 2 pick because I think that's where they're at right now. The sentiment that they told me that is coming out of Chicago is that like this is them putting Aaron Rodgers in the ground. Like they're like he is like done, and we are going to be the team that this is going to be the game that like decides it. And I don't think
that just shows you the ego of people, man. They're like, look how important we are.
Well, no, but it's just funny because he has, and I think this happens at every point. Brady never really went through it in the division, but like, throwing a pick 6 in the division or in the wild card round when they made AFC championships, like every year before that. At some point, like it just kind of runs out, and you can kind of see it kind of happening with Rodgers. And also just having these conversations and like me chuckling at them, I got to take Chicago here, even though I think that they're trying to tank for that too. I mean, they're obviously trying to, but they're trying
they're
to get
not trying to. Like they have really no incentive. When you have a quarterback, you want your like quarterback to get confidence down the stretch. You don't have incentive to be like, "Ooh, I want this edge rusher over this tackle." Like
I don't know. I mean, the 2 pick is like a real thing. Like
but 2 versus 5, like it's gonna be.
I think 2 is significantly.
This just shows how good we are, good ethos we have here. Ravens are now -8, and
we are line movers. We move the line.
We are sticking with our 8.5. We I can guarantee the 10 viewers watching this must have really hammered.
Just hammering the Ravens with huge bets.
They heard us make fun of Russ, and they were like, okay, yeah.
So yeah, I think I just got to take Chicago. The juju is telling me that the voodoo juju is telling me that Chicago is gonna.
I can see what you said, man, but I just don't see. After they played the Titans tight, after they played the Eagles tight, unless
you have to remember, he went into the stadium last year and ran for a touchdown and pointed at the fans and said, "I own all of you, motherfuckers. I own you all. I've owned you all my fucking life." They've held on. Like, it's going to be a
God,
loud
thanks for
game.
commenting, man. Good comment.
This is not going to. Yeah, well, maybe Scott Brown. Jeez, what a way you've come. But yeah, man. I mean, I don't know. That's it feels like the spot that they're licking their chops to and smelling blood in the water here, and hopefully for the people of Chicago, they can. This is if there's any year, this is it. Like you just gotta hope for them, man.
All right, Dolphins at 49ers, one of the best games of the afternoon slate. How do you see it? I'm excited for this game.
I mean, I just think the world of Mike McDaniel, and I saw something the other day where Tua was in, and this is so stupid, but Tua was in a press conference saying that he had, he was like looking himself in the mirror every day, nursing that hip injury, saying like, "Am I even good enough to be
Mike
in the
McDaniel's
NFL?"
made the tape for him.
And Mike McDaniel made a 700 play tape and sat down with him and told him, I mean, how do you not? I mean, and I hate the Dolphins. I really do. I don't like the Niners either, but I don't know how you don't fall in love with like that coach quarterback combo, like the idea of him like kind of resurrecting his career and the concussion and all that. And it just seems like they are rolling right now. I don't know if they go into San Francisco and win, especially. I mean, it's interesting that it's Shanahan versus McDaniel, but I don't know. I could totally see them coming in and just wide receivers wide open in space, getting it around. So I like Miami +4 here as much as that sucks for the Pats.
Yeah, I wish this wasn't. I wish the Niners weren't giving so many points here. There's a lot of narratives I like here. I always like McDaniels versus former coach. I like McDaniel coming in. I thought he was a good coach.
I think everybody liked him. It was just kind of like, is this
Well,
going
we
to
didn't
be?
know. We didn't know, and he's proved it.
Yeah. But I'm saying like personality-wise, everybody liked him.
Yeah, and then I'm going to take the Niners here, and the reason is because even though I think Tyreek and Waddle is unlike what the Niners have really seen so far, I mean, in some senses, they have the slower version on their team in the Niners, but Tyreek is just a different animal. The Dolphins lost Teron Armstead, their left tackle, for I don't know how many games, and their O-line is still terrible. Like they're getting the ball out quick, but this could be a game the Niners defense feasts. And I just think like this Dolphins team is good, but their O-line is not there yet. And so that's not going to always work. And the Dolphins defense, while fine, and we don't know if CMC is playing, like I think like Debo is going to move the ball, no problem. Ayuk's going to move the ball, no problem. So as long as Jimmy G doesn't pumpkin this away, the Niners could win this quite handily. So I'll take Niners -4.
Who do you think will be the San Fran QB next year?
So I think it will be Trey Lance, but if I'm the Niners, I don't cut or trade Jimmy G. I keep him, like I franchise tag him just in case Trey Lance is not good. I mean, like, how good would these Niners be if they had 3 extra first-round picks and Jimmy G?
Oh, yeah. And I mean, there is a small rumor that Brady might be going to one of these two teams next year, but that's just
Do you want Brady if you're these two teams? Like, I mean, Brady's looked okay, I guess, and the Bucs team is not that great.
I think if you're one of these two teams, Miami probably not.
No way you go from Tua to Brady.
That's what I'm saying. Like if Tua's, but I'm saying like if San Francisco, it would be very hard, I think, to pass up on Brady again because they did how many ever years ago.
Yeah, I think San Fran would take like a 10% better Jimmy G or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the question is, do they want Trey Lance to play at some point? Which I think
I think the answer is yes. And so, like, even if they go a Brady year, which I don't think is super likely, but possible, it says like this, like they're framing it as like further mentorship, or who knows what they frame it as.
Yeah, or it'll just be.
I feel robbed that we didn't get to see Trey Lance. I think Trey Lance would have been fun.
Well, yeah, and there's like talk about, and his opinion doesn't mean much to me, but I heard like a spot with Trent Dilfer saying like for a guy that's played
New
this
head coach of UAB.
UAB, yeah, for a guy that has played this little football and your third and fourth year mattering or your third year really mattering a lot for that 50-year option. This could be really bad for him. But we'll see.
Yeah, I mean,
And then if they sign Brady, then it's pretty much done. Like they'd be smart to move him for picks at that point, I guess. Like,
well, I mean, I don't know, man. Brady maybe played himself out of the league this year. We'll see.
Yeah, well, if we're talking about him playing an NFC Championship this year,
that's obviously like a possibility. The other possibility is he gets fucking stomped or doesn't even make it.
No, but I'm saying like if he does end up playing in the NFC Championship this year, regardless of stats, somebody's going to be like, well, the fans love him. Like what? Like somebody's going to take a shot, or he'll just stay in Tampa.
NFC's not as good, so yeah, it's possible.
Yeah.
Seahawks at Rams. I'm taking Seattle minus 7.5. Pretty much a must win for them if they're going to close this gap, especially with the Giants or Washington having to eat an L unless they tie. The Rams look like a disaster with Bryce Perkins or whoever's rolling out there. Matt Stafford looks unlikely to return. So just give me Seattle. And I think Aaron Donald might even be questionable or something like that. I don't know.
Is Stafford, I mean, well, yeah, I mean, the LA thing, you said they're the worst team in football and they're getting less points than Houston is. So, or they're getting more points than Houston is, but not by a lot. I think Seattle is obvious here, but I mean, God, dude, I do not like either of these two games because it seems like Gino's kind of reverting back to old Gino. But maybe
last week it was just like, I mean, I don't know, man. Like Josh Jacobs is going to do it to you sometimes. Like, what are you gonna do then?
That was a sick run in overtime too. But yeah, I mean, is Stafford out for the year? Is that official?
I don't think he's out for the year, but I think it's pretty unlikely they're going to trot him out there.
It's like that. That just
like he's most likely not going to play again this year.
It really sucks for them that they win the Super Bowl and then just get. But I guess that's what it is, man. Yeah, I think Seattle's obvious here as well. So Seattle minus 7.5.
Trying to pull up a tweet from Jamar Chase here before we do this next one.
No, what did he say?
Him and Justin Reed of the Chiefs are going at it on Twitter, so I want to pull that up. This was pretty funny.
I'm glad you're pulling this up because I would have said the Chiefs, but if Jamar is mad, then it's going to be
okay. So Justin Reed thought he was talking about Hayden Hurst, their tight end, and like the guy that he goes like, "Who are you talking about?" You'll just have to watch
Higgins. Wait, he said he thought he was talking about T. Higgins.
Well, because he says Higbee, which is the Rams tight end, and the guy's like, "Did you mean Higgins?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's the guy, Higgins. He can't block. I'll lock him down. And then Jamar Chase wrote,
"Tuna in a can."
He wrote, he wrote, "To be honest, I went Hayden Hurst for the man matchups. Nonetheless, any and everybody's still getting locked up." Jamar Chase said, "Let's put some money on it big time," which I don't think you're allowed to do in the NFL, is bet on stats. He said, "Y'all welcome for extra motivation. I'm going to see you Sunday, champ." And then he said, "Tuna in a can." Pussy, I guess, is what that means.
There's really no getting around the fact that he's asking to gamble either, because it's not like, oh, let's do a little wager, like, or he could say anything, but he's like cash, straight cash.
Let's Calvin Ridley this.
Yeah.
So that's some fun stuff. Anyways, Chiefs minus 1.5 on the road, a matchup, a rematch of the Chiefs' collapse in the second half against the Bengals in the AFC Championship. How do you see it, Bert?
Yeah, give me the Chiefs, man. I mean, they're gonna have to win one of these. All their games have kind of had qualifiers on them, including Tennessee. At some point, they're gonna have to beat one of these good teams. I think that this is one of those ones that kind of solidifies that they are not just obviously going to make the playoffs and probably roll it out to the AFC Championship, this is going to be one of those games that we're like, okay, the Chiefs are actually good. So I like KC here, -1.5.
Yeah, I mean, in some senses, like the Bengals being this close doesn't make the most sense when they just haven't looked as good. In the other sense, I think Jamar Chase is a huge difference maker for them. I think Kansas City's going to drop one, maybe two of their games, allowing the Bills to pick up that 1 seed. So
That'd
I
be
think it's
really
just
nice for you.
give me Cincinnati +1.5 with Jamar Chase back. And the Chiefs, like they've gotten some lucky, like, they probably should have dropped a Chargers game. They didn't. So they're due for some regression there.
Well, I mean, their game against the Raiders was pretty lucky.
The game
too.
against the Raiders, yeah. Okay, noted. Scott likes this Wong teaser. All right. Chargers.
The Wong teaser, that sounds like a. I know we've gone over it before, but it's a kind of a sex joke a little bit.
Yeah, I don't remember what it is. Anyways, Chargers at the Raiders. Josh Jacobs questionable to play. Give me the Chargers, man. If the Chargers are going to get this playoff spot, they have to win this. So I think Herbert's healthy. I don't think Big Mike Williams is going to play. I think Keenan Allen's healthy. So give me the Chargers -1.5. And, I think Las Vegas is a spotty team, and they're going to have spotty performances.
No, McDaniels has got him rolling at this point. Maybe Coach of the Year candidate if he can win out here. So I got Las Vegas +1.5 at home. LA gagging this thing away in a game that they should win is, I think, would be very on brand for them. So give me Vegas.
All right. Colts +11 against the Cowboys. How do you see that one?
Yeah, I think we're now past the point that Indy is the interim coach is kind of giving them their little pop, and Dallas having a kind of disappointing game against New York, I guess, but still winning. This feels more like yeah. We talked about this like a week ago. Dallas just feels like they are rolling. So give me Dallas -11. This feels closer to the Dallas
Rams game?
Dallas Minnesota game than it does to like the Dallas New York game. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how you really watch the Colts play football and you feel confident about them. The only thing is, it was like weird how little they ran Jonathan Taylor in the first half, and then they were like, "Oh yeah, this is how we win games." So it wouldn't shock me if they come out with some like 40 carry performance for Taylor, and that allows them to only lose by 7 or something. But
Well, because they just kill a bunch of clock.
yeah, but they just kill clock and they're able to score once or twice. But you can run on the Cowboys. But give me the Cowboys -11, because if the Colts put the ball in the air, Matt Ryan is going to be destroyed. All right, this next game, I had a main event high stakes league where Tom Brady is my quarterback, so wouldn't hate for him to start putting up some big fantasy weeks. Hasn't really been happening. Saints getting +4. I'm gonna take Tampa. We don't know how. Only because of my fantasy team, to be clear.
Oh my god!
We don't know if Alvin Kamara is going to play.
So at some point, money talks.
The Saints are
20 years of heartbreak from Tom Brady. At some point, the money talks.
No, the first fucking year I fucking draft the guy and he's awful. Like, I should have stuck to my gun.
I mean, you were 20 years. You were 20 years off on the gravy train.
Okay, well, I wasn't playing fantasy football for serious.
So you missed the boat, buddy. That's just kind of the way it goes.
I'll take Tampa -4, but I'm not going to be shocked if they blow it.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those games for you that you're taking -4, but like you're rooting for New Orleans the entire time. No, I like Tampa here. Really disappointing week for them last week. Hopefully, Brady just takes the offense out of everybody's hands and just does his thing. Because I don't even know what they were doing, not calling those timeouts at the end. But yeah, I mean, you got to figure they're going to get it figured out against New Orleans, who seems to be in full free fall at this point.
All right, guys. Well, I feel good about my picks. Not financial advice, but you may want to parlay all mine. Feels like this is the week I could hit a 15-leg parlay.
Who was the one team you said you're like I would never bet this in real life though? It was I think Detroit Jacksonville.
Yeah, I mean this feels like a coin flip.
Well, it's -1. I mean, it's a definition pick 'em.
This feels like a coin flip. This feels coin flip-y. This feels coin flip-y. I like this one a lot. This is too big to have great confidence. This one feels coin flippy. I feel good about this one. I feel okay about this one. We're not really seen Seattle have huge leads, so I don't know. This one is definitely a coin flip for me. I feel okay here. I feel my favorite of the week is Buffalo -3.5. That's just fucking ridiculous. I don't know what football people are watching.
Yeah, I mean I do
If
like
you usually bet all 15 games, just put all 15 units on Bills. That's my
if anybody's actually out here betting every game with this show in their mind as they're
well, maybe they're picking some of my picks, some of your picks. They're picking my locks. They're picking your card,
Yeah.
All right. Well, that closes out for week.
I don't even think our locks would do that well though.
Week 13. No, I said my locks. Week 13.
Yeah, your locks don't do that great either.
No, my locks are great. All right, guys. I'll be back on. I might make a game. I might make a video tomorrow with. Thanks, Preston. You've been a bit of a hater in the chat, but turning around with this comment. No, I'm kidding.
He hasn't been a hater for me.
No, he's your biggest fan. That's
the guy likes
the
money,
guy we
dude.
joked
How
at.
can you blame him? How can you blame him?
I might make a video for tomorrow's showdown between Bills Patriots, or I might want to keep all those thoughts to myself and try to bank this. Maybe
the numbers would agree. The numbers would agree, Preston.
I might just try to bank this $500K for myself. Bert, let's build a DraftKings lineup together. For tomorrow.
I thought you said you want to do playoffs next week.
Again?
What'd you say?
You cut on me, Bert.
I said you want to talk playoffs next week.
Say it again for me.
I said, do you want to talk playoffs next week?
I thought that's what we did before this. We talked who's going to make the playoffs.
Oh, you just said at the end of the thing you wanted to do playoffs for some reason. Sorry,
I meant before this.
Okay,
let's do a big playoff show, going over the matchups next week when we have more info. Let's do a pick'em team here.
Who's your top 4 in the college football playoff?
I don't even know who's in contention. All right, Bert, pick your one Patriot.
I saw that Stevenson is the most likely to score a touchdown this week, apparently. Oh, he's the most expensive though.
I do Josh Allen, captain, who's also very expensive.
Let's go Brian Hoyer.
He's on IR.
Oh, the IR. Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
The backup quarterback is a strategy, though.
Yeah, but not one on the IR.
No, not one on the IR.
I mean, they love Devontae Parker, the offensive coordinators, those jackwagons. So I don't think Devontae Parker's a bad pick.
Parker. And then I'll handle the Bills players. We'll throw in Diggs. We'll throw in a little Knox. We'll throw in the Bills D. John Brown was signed to the Bills, and then we'll
I
throw
think
in
it might be better to take Hunter Henry over Dawson Knox.
We'll throw in Naheem Hines. All right, that's Bert and I's
Okay,
lineup.
so no conversation.
Nope. You gave us the Patriot. I chose the Bill. Bert, if this lineup ships, you got half of the 500K or whatever it gets. The Hines Bills, that's some mini correlation, guys. Hines is the punt returner. So if he scores down against Patriots teams, Bills too. All right, that's all we got for this week. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. I'll be back at least Friday for main slate breakdown, and have a great day, guys.
Let's beat the Netherlands.
Peace.
Let's beat the Dutch.
Yeah, USA. That's what we forgot to talk about.
Yeah, we didn't even cover the World Cup.
Electric from us.
That was awesome. I mean, Pulisic going down and then coming back or going down, but sounds like he's going to be back for Saturday. And
yeah, I think they diagnosed it as like a pelvic contusion, which then some doctor on Twitter was like, "That's not a thing. That just means you got hit in the nuts really hard."
Yeah, my dad went to the hospital for something similar when he was like younger, and yeah, it's just
this is what people were saying. Anyways, see you guys. Go USA.